Hey, this is a little update of what's happened in my life um, in the last 3 years. You've seen in my movies have basically gone to next to nothing. Basically, I shared my knowledge of my gold mining videos, and I just don't feel like I need to make any more unless I'm actually, introducing a new product. Which the gold cube trauma I have, I will be doing that one. And just sharing my knowledge as far as it goes. I've done it all and shared everything. I mean, why make a bunch of videos of just sluicing or panning or stuff that doesn't make any money? If I'm not making at least a quarter of an ounce an hour, it's just not worth it to me. And because they've illegally outlawed dredging, I'm done on that. So what happened? What made me stop? Well, number one, my dad passed away in August of 2013, and that it threw me down. I mean, it just, for maybe a year and a half or so, it was just a downward spiral, and what was going on was he passed away, and then my sister, Laura, she decided that we should have two funerals, and I was still to this day see no need. So I, told my kids I need to get here for my dad's funeral, and they decided to come to the second one. And I told my son, I'd had one of those premonitions, and something bad was going to happen. I tried to get him to come back to California. He was in Texas, and just we had a job at the railroad here for him. We had them all set up. But, when kids get old enough, they want to do what they're going to do, and they don't listen to mom and dad anymore. And, well, he wasn't listening to me. And so 2 weeks after my dad passed away, he dove into a shallow lake there in Texas, maybe 6-8 inches deep, if I remember right, and broke his neck. And now he's a quadriplegic in Texas in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. So Karen and I met in... well, let's go to the first date of April 12th, 2013. That's when God put us together. If you haven't watched my entire series, go back and watch the playlists one by one, because God speaks to me, And it was like, you will allow this woman into your life. Okay, Lord, no problem. Next thing you know, I didn't know who was going to contact me, and then I get an email from Karen saying she liked the tent that I did a review on, and asked me a bunch of questions, and then we started talking because God had told me He was bringing her into my life, and I was to accept her because after what I'd been through with my last, my ex and everything else, I wasn't about to have anybody around. I was just too hard and too cold and too broken, and so He threw her at me and told her, this is going to be your husband, whether you like it or not. She's like, same as me. God speaks to her clearly, And she's like, okay. So she called me, and she had to pursue me because, I was too much of a broken SOB to let anybody in. As you guys well know, if you've gone back and looked at my other series, they're all serious, they're all true. No exaggerations in the mental disorder series that I put together about my ex, and wow, the thing I went through was just ridiculous. So I was already depressed because of that. I'd gone out a few times or whatever, lots of times. Okay, I had a lot of fun, and I have my followers here, and you guys, you're all here. You were here for me then, and I got lots of emails, lots of letters from a lot of you, and it's just, it meant so much, it really did. So then after my son, he got in his accident, and I called him up, and I was like, do you want me to come down? And he couldn't hardly talk. He's like, come now. And that's about all he could get out. I mean, he had a broken neck, paralyzed from the neck down, So Karen and I packed the car up, the Honda Civic, and we packed it with everything we needed to move down there and buy a house and stay there and take care of him. You know, with my ex and my daughter, and anybody that was going to come down there and help. We knew there was going to be a number of people would be needed to take care of them. When we got to Texas, you know, I went in and saw them once, and then basically what happened is they didn't want to be around Karen, you know, my fiance, because whatever trip it is, you know, their daddy figure problems or whatever, they didn't think I should have a new wife coming in the line or whatever their trip is. Either way, they treated us horribly. Just treated us horribly. In the week and a half we were there, you know, spending $100 and some odd, $120 a night, you know, in a hotel, trying to get ready to look for a house. We were allowed to see him twice. All right, I remember where I left off. Came back, cut it out because I was getting too technical. Basically, I went to Texas after my son got hurt, and they treated Karen just, you know, Karen's my wife now, and I'm not about to put up with my children treating my new wife like crap. So we walked away from the kids, basically. They couldn't handle me being married, and just wanted to be jerks. And I mean, my daughter wrote a bunch of nasty text messages, you know, and I've got them on the old phone, the phone that was destroyed in the wreck. It's not destroyed, all I gotta do is put a battery in it and bring it up. But there's no point. It's just, I don't know what it is with my daughter. She's been so angry for so many years after, you know, what my ex did to her, which is in my other series, you know, which helps a lot of guys. I've made a lot of new friends off the videos I did. I'd always thought that these videos were going to be just, you know, seen by a few people, and I just prayed when I made them. I was like, Lord, you really want to put this stuff out there? And he's like, yeah, put it out there. You know, so other people can know what some men go through with horrible, horrible divorces. And, you know, Ed's cool. You know, I mean, I dealt with it. I dealt with the ex, and I dealt with what she was saying. And, you know, yeah, it wasn't any fun. And I've met a number of people through emails and stuff now that have been through a whole lot worse than what I went through. People sent to prison for years and years and years because of an ex-wife decided to take everything and put them away at the same time, you know. There's always two sides of the story. I know you'll never hear hers because she'll never speak to anybody about it. Fortunately for me, it was Placer County Sheriff in the state of California was on my side when they took our son away from her. And so we came back here because we hadn't put my dad in the ground yet. You know, we'd had the first funeral, you know, because my sister had wanted 2 funerals. And, you know, then came the third bam after we buried my dad and came up and went through the second funeral and stuff. We started going to his attorney to settle the estate, and there was more than one trust, you know, and my sister and I were 50-50, and that's what it said in the trust and everything. But she'd gotten herself, she talked my dad into putting her on as I don't know, I can't remember what it's called, but anyway, she was the head of one of the trusts. And so, which was no big deal, right? Because my dad and I had talked, and it's like, you know, I mean, yeah, it seems like she wants a little extra. And I told him then, I really didn't care. You know, whatever happens, you know, I'll do my best to make it 50-50. And that's what he had told me. He goes, I think she's on the take. And I'm like, you know, I don't know. You know, I said, but it's no big deal as far as the property and stuff. I really don't need anything. She can take what she wants. And when we came back from Texas and went back to the house that we were supposed to live in was my dad's old house. Karen and I had actually moved in. She'd gone through it and taken what she wanted. And we were supposed to go through it together. You know, like you get one thing and you choose something and I choose something. And I mean, you hear about this stuff all the time where relationships and families are destroyed. And this is what happened between me and my sister, you know. First thing I saw was things disappearing. We went to the attorney, my dad's attorney, and it wasn't a 50-50 split. She wanted 55%, and I was going to get 45%, and she thought I was going to agree to that, and I ended up taking her to court. And, you know, it's a lose-lose situation. We lost a lot of money. But, you know, I had to fight for my 50%, and I should never have had to. That's okay, you know. So that was a third whammy, and that took about a year and a half. Hence, that brings us up to the middle of 2014. End of 2014 was like October, November when we finally got that settled. So that was a whole year plus a few months later. Because when my dad died, she had 6 months to settle the estate. Because I wouldn't agree to it, she just held it out and just figured I wouldn't do anything about it. So I took her to court for breach of trust, you know, as executor of the one trust. And what happened with the other trust, the trust that we'd set up, so we could split everything equally, she went in and closed it. We were supposed to be able to sign checks together, you know, and do everything equally, and everything was supposed to be transferred into this one trust account and then split from there. Well, she went in there with it behind my back and closed the account, took all the money out. So yeah, and obviously, well, here I went 3 times. My dad is dead, my son's a quadriplegic, my sister's trying to take our inheritance, and I spiraled right back down into the hole, man. I got depressed. Karen was right there holding me up the whole way, not letting me go down all the way. And she backed me up. That's why Laura attacked her. Because she wouldn't take any of Laura's crap, you know, at all. I got a good wife, man. Karen is just remarkable. And so, yeah, I quit making movies. I quit pretty much doing anything. We'd been in a car wreck. I mean, it took me over a year to recover from that. And on top of that, YouTube had, you know, changed the videos, the WMV format to widescreen, which made all my videos short and wide. And I mean, I'm wide enough, right? Why should I want YouTube to make me another, you know, Humpty Dumpty? Even worse than I am naturally, right? So, yeah, it was one of the major reasons. It was all 4 or 5 of those different things happening at once. I just stopped making videos, you know. And Karen and I started going on vacations and traveling, and we made a whole bunch of other videos. Like, you know, our wedding video, and when we're going to the coast. And then I bought my first UAV. So yeah, it's been great. Karen's opened her new artist group. She's got the Karen Lukens artist group, and she's now putting out and helping a lot of people with her drawings, because she has drawings that people color on, and they're just phenomenal. And so the Lord has blessed us in just every way. I can't say so many, I can't say a few. All I can say is every single way, like always. So yeah, it's an update. I'm still making movies. I'm switched more to UAVs, and, you know, the media has gone against UAVs and telling people are, you know, spying on them through bedroom windows and stuff. And, you know, there's no zoom lens on mine. I mean, yeah, some really high-end ones that you see with the media using will have your zoom lenses and stuff, but generally those are in helicopters with a great big camera on them. There's no zoom lens on these, and if you're as far away as this camera is from you to me right now, I'd be about this tall, you know, about maybe half the screen, because it's a really wide-angle zoom. I mean, not zoom, but it's just a wide-angle lens that when I'm up high and filming, you have the broad horizon, you have the great view. And that's what they're for. That's a wide-angle lens, so... yeah, the media blowing in a lot of proportion, saying they're spying on you and blah, blah, blah. You know, and you hear everything every day in the media. There's something else about UAVs. You know, their anti-UAV policy is just like the anti-dredging policy. It's all made up with a bunch of crap. You know, yeah, I put it plain and simple. I use the crap word. Yeah. So, hey, you know what? I'm going to keep making movies. I'm going to be doing more gold mining. This year, the other thing that happened was Paul, my partner, he got cancer. And he's battling cancer. He went through 22 rounds of chemo last year. So we didn't do a whole lot of gold mining videos because he was in and out of the hospital getting chemo and everything else all last year. You know? It's like, so yeah, my mining partner, it was done. Keith's been down here a few times. Rodney's been down here a few times. I made videos and put them out. You know, but other than that, we came down here and we supported Paul. That was how we felt we needed to be doing it. We'll be there for him. If he wants to come down here, we'll do that. And he's doing good now. You know, he had it metastasized into the brain, and you know, he is an incredible, amazing man. He's went through 22 rounds of chemo, which is more than most anybody in the world in history ever has. You know, and because he was in such great shape, he's still in good shape. You know, and now he's going to be going in and doing a cyberknife. The tumor he had in his brain, the cancerized tumor, is 100% gone, and his brain actually grew back. So he's actually a case study now because of the incredible health he was in and how well he's recovered. He had to go through the chemotherapy first before he could do the cyberknife to take the tumor out from behind his lung. And now they put up 22 rounds of chemo and it finally stopped working. Now he gets to go in next week and they're going to take the cyberknife to him and cut out the tumor there. And, you know, as good as he is, hopefully, he's done with the chemo. He's going to live happily ever after, you know. And so it's been really, it's been a struggle, obviously, these last few years, from November 2013 or September 5th when my son got hurt. Yeah, you know, from my dad dying to my son, you know, to then them treating Karen like crap and us leaving Texas and coming back home to help my sister deal with the estate and with the funeral arrangements and everything else, all happening at once. And then her trying to take, you know, more than her share, you know. We ended up losing the house in Auburn because we couldn't be in two places at once. And yeah, just went up from there, you know. So yeah, we had some hard times, and with Paul having cancer, it was just boom, 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 boom. And he was going to court. He was having problems with his family, not his wife and kids or nothing like that, but you know, other relatives had, you know, filed against him, you know, and they didn't win either. You know, it's pretty good when you got the truth on your side, which is what we do. And yeah. But anyway, yeah, you know, I mean, the Lord treats me well. I'm out here. I'm recovered. I'm just down here having fun today. He's used me to do a couple more saves here and there. And he's using Karen to do saves. And a lot of help with Karen on her art is just made incredible. You know, it's just, her art is incredible. It really is. The ladies take it, and men do too. And they color her pictures that she started to put out now to make a color book, because everybody wanted to make a coloring book. And I'll put the link down there. You can see more about that. She's really lifted a lot of hearts and put smiles on a lot of people's faces, including mine. And that's it for now, you know. I'm doing good. You know, I'm getting back into it. It's my first video in a long time. I've made 2 or 3 videos today. And hopefully they'll just keep growing and growing and growing. And you'll see a lot more on my channel in the future. Take care.